Welcome to a special edition of Wake Up the Echoes presented by TireRack.com. I'm your host, Tony Simeone, and it is signing day. So we have a very special episode for you as Notre Dame has signed their 24K class fueled by Gatorade. As always, we talked to the head coach, Marcus Freeman, on this episode. We talked to Director of Recruiting, Chad Bowden, about what goes into identifying and recruiting a class. And we also talked to new Notre Dame quarterback and recent signee, CJ Carr, who is on campus getting ready for the bowl game. Great opportunity for him to kind of cut his teeth at the college football level early on. Later in the show, we talked to some other members of the Notre Dame recruiting staff about what it takes to put together a recruiting operation that ultimately results in a day like today where they've signed their class of 2024. Tons to digest on this episode, so let's not waste any time. Let's talk to Marcus Freeman and Chad Bowden. I'm with Chad Bowden and Marcus Freeman. Thanks for coming back, Coach.
Yeah, glad to be here. Chad, welcome.
No, thank you.
This is Coach Freeman's show.
You don't have to do that. You can just talk. All right.
I have a ton of questions we could talk about recruiting, but what we were just talking about is kind of where I want to begin, because I've asked Coach Freeman this in different ways throughout the year. What do you have to do in your role to make sure that you stay in tune with the generation you're recruiting? Because we all keep getting older, and they remain the same age. And as you just said, you use the word Riz, which Coach Freeman had to get clarification on. Yeah. I'm still kind of – it's shorthand for charisma, right? Isn't that what it is? Why don't you – isn't that what it is?
It's a little bit of charisma, a little bit of, your game, a little bit of –
Riz? I got to ask Vinny about that.
Riz. Oh, Vinny will know all about Riz.
Yeah.
He talked about get your rules up.
I've learned cooling, bot.
Bot?
Yeah.
B-O-T?
Yeah, bot.
What's bot?
Like Chad's a bot. That's what they would say, like he's a bot.
Why is he a bot?
I don't know if it's like in a term of endearment, but I think you can use it in different ways. I know it's short for like robot, but he's not a robot, but
federal.
You're a bot.
Federal. Federal's a word.
So federal is kind of like legit, like, right or no? Am I
like,
no,
like Feds watching, like
yeah, I'm actually like cutting them off from a good time.
I gotcha.
I gotcha. I see what you're saying.
They'll always say I'm federal.
I like that.
Yeah.
Because you're too on the up and up.
You're on the up and up.
I gotcha.
I'm really not, but
but
tried
forward-facing to the public, you have to appear.
Yes.
But you have to know how to communicate because you play Fortnite.
Yep. I'll play Fortnite. Really, the whole recruiting staff will play anything that these kids are currently doing.
So can you almost justify playing video games as kind of like a thing you're doing to improve your job, basically, to get better at your job, yeah?
I think they think it's funny that I can't kill anybody in Fortnite. So it's actually, they just laugh at me because I'm at least trying.
So being bad at Fortnite actually helps.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I killed somebody, one kill. I was playing Fortnite with a quarterback, and I killed this other thing in Fortnite with pom-poms, and the whole group went nuts. All of our commits went nuts. They watched me kill him with a pom-pom.
And that might have gotten that commit over the finish line.
No question. Actually, there's someone who was going to commit that was on there that watched that.
And that probably got it
fired up, potentially.
I want to know, when did you guys, because you guys go back to Cincinnati, when did you guys first meet? Describe to me, I'll start with Coach Freeman, just describe to me, if you remember, when you first met Chad.
There was like 3 different times we first met. And the first time I remember meeting him, I was already at Cincinnati, and he was just this guy in the recruiting office. Were you an intern or just a volunteer?
Intern, yep.
And I never talked to him. I didn't know. I mean, I saw him. You see people, but I didn't really get a chance to talk to him. So that was the first time I saw this guy. I didn't know his name. The second time I was introduced to him, this was we're getting ready for spring ball, and our director of recruiting at Cincinnati comes up to me and said, "Hey, we got a guy, an intern that's working in our recruiting office that thinks he wants to get into coaching. Do you mind if he just sits in the back of your meetings for spring ball?" And it happened to be Chad, but I was like, sure.
Yeah.
And he sat in the back of the room, didn't say a word, and just took notes the whole time. I was like, oh, okay, like this guy's dedicated. He really wants to be a coach, and he didn't talk. But, and then the third time was probably the real introduction, right? Is somewhere after that spring ball, a couple practices, he said, "Hey, do you mind?" Did you ask or did I ask you? I think
you asked me.
I was like, "Hey, you know what? You don't have to just sit in our meetings. Like, you can come into our staff room and like just hang out and listen to us the way we talk about ball, the way we game plan and watch film." And that's when I was really introduced to Chad because he became comfortable.
He opened up.
Yeah, that's when I was really.
It's not good when I get comfortable.
What was that like for you then when he welcomed you in? What was your reaction to that?
I should be there.
You belong.
I belong.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, I'm just kidding. No, I was nervous. I was really nervous. I remember the first time I got to sit there in that staff room, just hearing the things they were talking about as far as football. Like I thought I knew something about football, and I realized I knew nothing. I knew absolutely nothing, which was the best thing for me because I knew I really wanted to do recruiting, and I knew I really wanted to do other things at the time.
Yeah.
But I wanted to hear what they were saying because it was the only way I was going to learn. So just being in that room and hearing Coach talk about what he sees in linebackers or just the whole defense made me kind of realize, okay, this is what they're talking about. This is what they want. This is what they need. This is what they're looking for. This is the type of scheme they're running. You know, I got to learn all of those things.
I thought the video that was put out this year of you guys on the headset was a revealing moment too, with all the communication that goes on in the Duke game. It's like, oh, I thought I knew how to run a 2-minute drill until I listened to the radio going like that. So you guys obviously spent a ton of time together at Cincinnati.
Yep.
Now you find yourselves at Notre Dame. I'm just curious from both your standpoints, why did you guys want to work together? What about that relationship made it something you guys wanted to keep doing?
If you don't mind, Coach, let me.
Go ahead.
So, for me at Cincinnati, watching Coach Freeman and how he treated people, how he treated the players, how he treated the staff, the support staff, on a day-to-day basis, that made me want to work for him, with him, wherever he went. I know there were various things that happened even before he came to Notre Dame, that opportunities he could have taken. I always told him it doesn't matter if it was Hocking College. I was going to come with him. And it's because of how he treats
enough with the
how he treats kids. I'm serious.
I know.
I'm actually being dead serious.
I know.
I got to say, I have to say,
we don't compliment each other too much, you know.
It's a rare moment of
That's not
vulnerability.
our-
Let him share.
Do I ever get to share it? So, I would have gone with him wherever he was going. It didn't matter. I always wanted to work with him.
So you're not going to tell him
How you fired me 15 different times? Yeah, so Coach Freeman's actually fired me 15 or 16 different times. People also don't know that. I was fired, I think, 6 times at Cincinnati. One time I thought it was serious, but I kept showing up.
What was the reason?
It's just Chad being Chad.
Yeah.
Just you had.
It's almost a daily occurrence, but I've never been serious enough to follow through with that. But it helped. It's like it's another term of endearment. Hey, you know what? I'm gonna get rid of you. You know, that means I love you. You know, I love you.
It really is.
But you thought he was serious one time.
One time I was like, wow, I think I'm done. But I just showed up again. And it was all good. He didn't say anything.
We have one of the most unique relationships, especially when you become a head coach. Your relationships with a lot of people change.
Yeah.
And we've known each other for a long time. You think about Chad and Coach Mickens, who I've known since high school. There's very few people you have such a unique relationship with. Yeah, I mean, it's a real relationship. I fire him, but I love him, and he's the best at what he does. There was a time where at Cincinnati that I told him, you're an elite recruiter. You're an elite communicator. You're an energy provider, and we need that. Yeah. That attracts talent. That attracts young people. You don't need to coach, and he could have been a coach. He could have been a great coach.
No, I couldn't have.
You could have. I got this. You could have.
Yeah, cut that one part out. Yeah, you could have, man. You were in the room with him, talking ball.
But he's an elite recruit. He's elite at what he does, and he's one of the hardest workers I know. And at some time, there's times where I'm actually like envious of the relationships he has with our recruits. Maybe even with my kids. My kids, when they come to the office, they might come. Most of the time, they say hi, Dad. They go right into the recruiting office, spend time with Chad and his staff, because they have a unique ability to, bring those kids in and communicate and spend time with them. And that's trust. Trust is built over time. Yeah. Right. And that's why I've always wanted to work with him. Mm-hmm. He's a hard worker. He's a really good person. Most of the time he has outside the box ideas. Yeah. He pushes me. Like, one of our things is to go and stand and challenge everything. You talk about a guy that challenges me to think outside the box, to get outside my comfort zone. Sometimes I got to say no, but where he is, he's like a guy that makes me
I'm told no.
Yeah, but you got to push him, right?
No doubt.
Yeah,
he's told no. He's been told no a couple times though,
and he's been fired a couple times.
Yeah.
I have a couple questions for you then, Chad, specifically. Yeah. And then I have a surprise that we're going to do in a second. But 24K, presented by Gatorade. So how do you guys come up with the themes? How does the staff settle on? I've seen Fight Club in the past, seen all kinds of things. Like what is this?
Yeah, so the recruiting staff, before every year, we get together and talk about what next year's tagline is going to be. Think big is always our thing, thinking more than just playing football. It's, what Notre Dame offers young people, which is 4 for 40. It's the rest of their life. But the 24K was easy, right? Like got that gold helmet. You got Mother Mary back there, the gold dome. Like it was just easy. I think Mackenzie came up with that idea.
I want to know, too, just in general, because I don't follow recruiting that closely. I try to, it's tough to follow everything.
Yep.
Help me understand just the process now in this day and age, 2024, when you're recruiting a student athlete, like the first time you encounter them, take me from like when you first identify them, whether it's through film or whatever, until you get them on campus and hopefully sign them like you guys have today on signing day.
30 minutes long.
I'm going to give you the floor to try to just lay out, to me, help me understand the process from day one to signing day, what it takes to get someone to commit to your program.
Okay, so 2024 class, for instance, we would have started 2 years ago. We would have evaluated their film throughout the entire season. The recruiting staff would be the only ones that have touched it. That will have gone on all season long. We'll have made our board. We'll have ranked that entire board. As soon as December is over, January, we're going to get their third semester transcript because it's important, obviously, being at a place like Notre Dame, you should evaluate their grades and see where they're at. As soon as that's done, in February, during the dead period, the first week that we're back, there's a watch list week where we watch all of our top, at the time it was the top 2024s. We'll evaluate them.
This is with coaches?
With coaches, with position coaches, coordinators. We'll have watched all those guys. And then after we watch them, we get them rated. We'll have already gotten the notes on all those guys from we'll have called their high school coaches, figuring out their background, their mom, their dad, whatever the situation is, what they do for a living, their character makeup, are they a captain, all that kind of stuff through the high school coach. And then we'll start a 4-week process where we'll call the high school coach and have the high school coach get us in contact with the player. The prospective student athlete.
Yeah.
We'll talk to them. We'll talk to the coach, talking about setting it up once a week. So not only are we trying to offer that kid, but we're actually trying to get to know them.
Yeah.
We'll do that for a 4-week period. And then March 16th is St. Patrick's Day. We call it Pot of Gold Day around here, which is a huge day for us. It's all the work that we've done as a recruiting staff for basically 6 months to put us in a position for that day. We'll make that call offer. Typically, we're either offering them early or we're just getting into the game, but it's such a special day that, even our fan base knows about. That's really, really cool. We have something called the Golden Chain, which is something Coach Freeman invented, which is, make sure that they're at an on-campus event, make sure that we've had a Zoom with them going over our 4 for 40 plan for them, what Notre Dame offers them. Have they met with a position coach, coordinator, head coach, all those different kinds of things, make sure they've seen everything. We try to knock that out through the entire year so they come for a game day. Then in December, they have the junior day, and then it just recycles all the way over for another year. And once they commit, hopefully we get them committed a little bit earlier, but we'll keep them on the same path and same plan throughout the entire next cycle.
It's unbelievable. It sounds like it's never ending.
It is. And, I think the biggest thing is you listen to all those different things that Chad goes over. One, it takes a lot of people. There's certain things you have to make sure you check off. You have to have those Zooms. You have to make sure they understand what Notre Dame's about in the meetings with the coordinators, the head coach, position coach, all those things. But then once it gets to the point where you've offered them, they know what Notre Dame's about. Now it's relationship building. At first, we got to continue to say, we got to sell. Then it's about building relationships. And that's, to me, the greatest thing that his staff and our coaches really do is say, okay, we've identified this guy. He's the right fit. We've offered him. He might have been he might be committed or not. Build the relationship, build the trust, because that's going to be more important than anything.
What's the biggest change you've seen in recruiting since you were recruited? It's about, probably close to 20 years ago now when you first got recruited, right? What's the biggest change?
Everything's happening earlier.
He's getting old.
Yeah, we all are.
You got your hairs on.
Everything is happening earlier. Everything's happening earlier, right? Whereas when I was getting recruited, majority of guys committed on signing day or close to it. You know, it was a big day that everybody announced where they were going on signing day. Now everything happens earlier. You're offering kids earlier. They're committing earlier. You know, you're evaluating earlier, which can be really a double-edged sword, right? We got to do a great job of, I don't care if a kid's committed or not. We still have to evaluate them as they go as juniors, and we've got sophomores committed, right? And I want to see their junior film. I tell child, I want to see the commits senior film. And at some point, you might have to make a difficult decision. But these kids, since we offered them earlier, we're not giving them a chance at that moment to continue to mature. And so we can't crown a kid. I've said this to them all the time. We can't crown a kid too early, and you can't dismiss a kid too early because they're so young. You think about 16-year-old. My son's 16 right now. I'm thinking about a lot of these kids we offer 15, 16-year-olds. Yeah, they got to continue to improve and get better.
I want you to do me a favor, Coach. You see that locker to your left? Can you open, or one of you guys, whoever has the best angle, can open that up. We got 2 whiteboards. Okay. We're going to kind of do like I think it's the newlywed game, but we're going to do it with you guys. And get a few questions to see where you guys land on this.
Let's do it. All right, here we go.
Okay, so a couple questions here.
Don't look either, don't you?
So it's going to be, we're going to have about each of you guys, and then I'll have you turn them around, and we'll show them to, I think, that camera straight away. Is that, that works probably, yeah. Straight away.
I can't see anything.
Just see the big screen?
Dude, we'll just show it.
Just show it to the big screen, kind of. Okay, so the first one I want to know, and Coach will have the answer on this one. So what's the one thing, when Coach Freeman's maybe, let's say, meeting a prospective student athlete for the first time, what's the number one thing he's going to ask you or make sure that he has or is accounted for before that meeting? It could be a tool. It could be something he needs, a certain meal. It could go any direction. Is there something that has to be accounted for Coach Freeman before he meets a student athlete?
This is in his office, right?
Sure. We'll go within his office.
Right.
Has to have it. Yeah, take your time.
Okay.
Okay, on the count of 3, we'll flip them around. You show them there. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Look at that.
What does yours say?
What's yours say?
Profile sheet.
Profile sheet.
My God. There you go.
The Bash Brothers.
Yeah.
1 for 1. Okay.
Yeah, it's easy.
Kind of a similar question,
It's easy.
but a little bit of a twist here. So with Chad, what's the one thing that Chad could not do his job without? If you took this away from him, some tool, some item, it could be something in the office, something that he needs every day. If you took it away from him, he could not function. He'd have a meltdown. Okay, go ahead. 2 for 2. Phone. Yeah.
I'd have a panic attack.
Okay. Okay. I think we're all slowly developing that phone addiction too. I think you took my phone away, it'd be a dark place.
It's like a legit though. Like if I had lost my phone, I'd.
Okay, so this is one I've gotten from sources around campus. Chad, as we can already tell, this is my first time sitting down with you. Unique personality.
What's up, player?
Yep, exactly. Right. Is there someone, or you have to pick someone in this class that has a personality most similar to his?
Ooh. Only one though?
The top one you're trying to match here. So.
Oh my God.
I know Chad's one of one, but the closest you can get if you had to pick somebody. Okay, Chad's got his.
It's got to be 1 or 2 people he can pick.
Flip it around.
Or one of 3.
Yeah, go ahead. Wow, same last name, but I got Aeneas and I got Cam here.
Cam. I put Aeneas.
You put Aeneas.
Wow. Man, Cam's good.
Cam's just like.
Okay. Let's do favorite recruit of this class.
You want to do that? Rank them?
Sure we should do that?
Favorite one?
Yeah.
If the head coach wants to do it, you can do it. Okay, you got your favorite one? Go ahead. Wow, 2 CJ Carrs. Why would that be? I have no idea why.
Because he's really
Well,
good.
the quarterback.
Quarterback.
Be the favorite.
Quarterback's always got to be your favorite. Okay, one more for each of you here.
Okay.
And we're going to go, we'll start with Chad. So we're describing Chad. One word, the first word that comes to mind, or just the best word that comes to mind to describe Chad in one word.
We won't use the same word.
And you got to use the same word, Chad.
Wait, for myself?
Yeah, but I want you
can't
to.
do it.
How about you? You know, you're describing yourself, but you're going to pick the word you think that Coach Freeman would use to describe you, in one word. And I want Coach Freeman to just describe you in one word.
He's not going to choose this word because he doesn't use it. But if
is it too big of a word for?
make sure I spell it right.
Yeah, I like that. Don't look.
But he's not.
You don't think he'll use that?
I mean, he'll use. I could use some other words, but this is what I think of.
He'll leave it up. Go ahead and show the camera.
I mean, it's the word that he would use.
Okay, that's all we're looking for. Coach said innovative.
What'd you say?
Chad said idiot.
No. I was gonna say. I mean, like I would think you would say crazy or nuts, but
Okay.
I wouldn't say idiot.
What'd you put?
Innovative.
Innovative.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm
It's a
being
good one. It's a
nice. I'm
compliment.
being nice.
Okay, flip it around now.
Okay.
A word to describe Coach Freeman. You pick the word. And we're going to see if Coach Freeman can guess the word you're going to use to describe him. So one word to describe Coach Freeman for Chad.
That's a nice way.
Like that. Okay, go ahead, Chad. What do you got? Leader.
Leader.
Chad said leader. Coach Freeman said demanding.
Yeah, I can't put that for myself. But
Okay. Yeah. I see why you couldn't say that. Okay. That was a good newlywed game. You guys got the
like it.
the straightaway ones. You guys, I can tell you're on the same wavelength.
Yeah,
Makes
no
sense.
doubt about it. Get that profile sheet for me.
No doubt.
I'll get you guys out of here on this. Signing day, as you said, it's evolved a ton since obviously Coach Freeman was playing. Now he's a coach. It's changed a ton in the last 5 days with the 2 different signing days. But when you get to a day like this, and I'll start with you, Chad, because as you just laid out, you're in the thick of it, going through it. What is signing day like? What emotions come to mind? How proud of you are you when you get a class signed, when you get to the finish line and get a chance to finally get guys committed fully on pen and paper? They're going to join Notre Dame and be a part of this class.
I get excited. I obviously, I think about all the work that was put into it. Obviously, it was a 2-year thing.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just, we did it for a couple of months and then figured out, like, this is a 2-year process that we accomplished. I'm grateful for the recruiting staff that we have, the work that they put in, the fact that they sometimes, aren't 100% with what I'm asking them to do, or 100%, like, they're not 100%. They don't really believe in what I'm doing sometimes, but they choose to do it anyway. And for them to put in the work that they did, our recruiting staff, and then, for our guys to, our commits to believe in us and believe in Coach Freeman, believe in Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
It makes everything for me just feel like an accomplishment. That's all I really have. I don't really have much to say there. I might have to answer that again. I'll be honest with you.
Good.
I got 2 things on my mind. I got 2 text messages that I want to read.
Yeah. Well, you can't be without your phone.
You're ready to work.
You're
I'm ready to
multitasking.
work
Yeah.
right now, yep.
I have a different one for you, Coach,
Yeah.
because we're going to talk a little bit more later. What is the wildest thing that Chad has asked for in a recruiting pitch, or something he wants to execute that you've either had to say no to or you did green light? Like, what's the craziest request that he's
There's a
put in?
lot I have to say no to. I think the most recent one was jumping out of an airplane or a helicopter or something like.
Yep.
Just
For what reason?
The effect. Imagine you're a recruit. You show up to Notre Dame, right? You got the gold dome. You got touchdown Jesus, right? You show up to Notre Dame Stadium. You see the new Rockney statue, and then all of a sudden there's a helicopter with Coach Freeman flying out of it.
Oh, you wanted him jumping out of the plane?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, I thought you just had someone jumping out of a plane. You wanted the head coach jumping out of a plane.
Exactly.
Yes.
Like that's what I'm
I mean,
saying.
he'd have someone attached to him. It wouldn't just be him. Like we'd have somebody in the military.
Like
Take
those
care
are the
of 'em.
ideas that
Wow.
he brings. That's what I say. He is innovative. I just don't always agree with them all.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's interesting because are you doing that because you don't think there's any other coach in the country that's jumped out of a plane for
No
a recruit?
question.
No question.
He does some. Probably the best one that I've said yes to was we were at Cincinnati. We had a kid named Tank that we were recruiting, and he had me dress up in a military fatigue general
Full-on suit.
full outfit with the helmet and everything, and I agreed to it. And we didn't get the kid, and I remember saying, like, I will never, ever dress up for a meeting again.
Mm.
But
And we
those
got
are-
the kid a tank, like a real tank.
So you will pull out all the stops.
he'll,
No question.
like there is no boundaries for where his mind goes.
I'm excited to see if this guy ever jumps out of the plane now. I can tell you've gotten it in his head, and there's going to be a day where you convince him to do it.
Window.
One day.
Convince Miss Freeman.
It always starts with Mrs. Freeman. I love that. Chad, thanks for stopping by, man. Great to talk
Thank
to you.
Yep.
All right, we are joined by a special guest, CJ Carr. I think, how old are you, CJ?
18.
18.
Yes, sir.
Probably the youngest guest we've had, Coach.
Yeah, but we got some young freshmen, but he probably is.
First guy to be here before they're technically taking classes, right?
Yeah.
So let me just ask you that. Why did you decide to come here now and jump into the fray as they're getting ready for the bowl season? What went into that decision, man?
Well, I think we learned about it pretty recently, and so we just thought it was a good opportunity for me to kind of get integrated early and pick up, when you should be places, how to do things around here, and so it's good to get a jump on that.
How much more valuable is it, Coach, for someone? Because I'm used to seeing guys like
questioning that after those first couple practices.
Hold on. How the practice has been? Because I've been talking to a lot of basketball freshmen that have said it's like night and day coming to play college basketball. Are you regretting?
Night and day, good or bad?
Night and day, bad. Marcus Burton said he called his mom, and he said, "I'm not sure I can make that. I'm not sure I'm going to get through this year." Wow. So, what's the experience been like then getting into it? Be honest.
I would go from the first day of walkthroughs to the last 2 practices.
It's been wild. It's been wild. They got me with the scout team, and so Coach Freeman he runs our scout team huddles and gets us in and out, and so it's interesting for sure. We have like 2 D linemen playing O line now, and so we're all over the place, and I'm back there just trying to figure it out, and so it's been really good though. It's to kind of throw it on me quick, I think, is good to just see the how fast college football is and how much of a difference it is, and so it's honestly a blessing in disguise. I come home with bruises all over, but just kind of looking at it as positively as you can. It's been fun.
Is that the biggest thing? The speed is what you've noticed so far? Just everyone's faster, and then practice is moving faster too?
The speed, the space you have, it's just everything is a little tighter, a little quicker.
Yeah, it was funny. The very first day he was here, he had a walk. We were just doing walkthroughs, and then that night we had a home visit at his house, and it's the very first day he's here. We go out, we have a walkthrough, and I'm like, don't stand here, go in there. Like, we're just doing walkthroughs, but I want you to go stand in the quarterback. And it was a couple plays in, and he snaps the ball before everybody was ready. And all I hear is Golden go, come on, guys. Like, we can't waste time. And I just said, oh, very first day he got Golden. But then he ran a touchdown. It was a walkthrough, but he kind of scored a touchdown even in the middle of a walkthrough.
There you go.
And I was like, look, man, you scored a touchdown your first day. You got Golden your first day. Like, we're good. And then practices, I've been protecting him. I'm like, listen, you stay away from the quarterback. I tell our defense guys, stay away from the quarterback. But a couple of times he got knocked around the past few days, so it's been good.
I've heard of guys coming in, spring, early enrollee, but this has got to be a unique advantage to get them in even before the bowl, because you can see what it's like to prepare for a true competitive game. Spring game's a little bit different, right? So what have you seen as the value of getting them in this really unique time?
There's, just like you said with Marcus, and the expectations, the way we run practice, the intensity, everything we do is 100% here.
Yeah.
Like even in a walkthrough, like everything we do is go, go, go. And so he gets to experience that when we're getting ready for a bowl game.
Yeah.
And he's going to be able to help the other freshmen that get here in January figure this thing out, because now he knows what time meetings start, where to sit, be there early, where do you go when the horn blows. Everything we do, we're running, we're sprinting. And so he's going to be able to tell those freshmen, like, it's okay, guys, man. It's going to be fine. Because after a few days, it's just natural for him now.
CJ, I know you've been kind of a guy that once you committed as part of this class, you've kind of rallied others. Just now that you've been on campus, like he said, what do you kind of view your role as guys have committed here, and then once they get on campus, kind of helping them through that process?
Right now, I'm just worried about what time practices and where I gotta go. But when spring comes around, I think it's just gonna be fun to have all my class around me and grinding through it with them next to me. Right now, it's kind of like you're alone in a big locker room. Although the guys have been just unbelievable, and the quarterback room has been great, kind of teaching me where to go, what the ropes are, and so. But when the 24s get here, it's going to be fun to kind of walk side by side with them and figure things out together.
Yeah, usually you have a group of guys that you can kind of suffer through it with. Right now, you're the only new guy, so it's got to be weird.
I was thinking about in practice the other day when you were talking, like Javante, Jean-Baptiste came up to me and said, "Hey, you tell the rookie, you're talking about CJ. As long as he stays in that pocket, will be nice. He starts scrambling outside that pocket, then he's got to pay." And I just started laughing because that's the truth. Like those older guys that have done it and been here, like, hey, you tell that rookie, stay right there in the pocket. Don't make him start chasing after him. And It is, man. He's a part of the team, man. He's a part of the group now, and they've embraced him. It's special.
All right, let's address the elephant in the room, okay? Your lineage, right? Lloyd Carr.
Yes.
You got a Michigan connection. And then also you're sitting next to a former Buckeye. So what's it been like to commit to Notre Dame to play for a former Buckeye when your grandfather spent so much time at Michigan?
It's been awesome. Coach Freeman is he treats all of us like family,
Sure.
and like we're a part of his family, and so you don't think about that at all when you're making your decision or anything. For me, it was kind of just what fits me the best, and what's a place that's going to develop me and take care of me. And so Notre Dame was the obvious decision once everything came down to it.
What was the reason for that? Then when you settled on Notre Dame, I wouldn't say settled, when you chose Notre Dame, why was it Notre Dame?
I think every time I continued to come back on campus, it just felt more and more like home. Like you were, I think I remember specifically, like I was talking to my mom, like, hey, yeah, we're gonna go over to the Goog. And the first time I said like the Goog, I don't know, it felt like a home to me. Like, okay, I'm just gonna go to the Goog, hang out, in the locker room or whatever. And so, when I said that, I was kind of like, okay, I think I'm gonna come here. Like, it's home now. So the home feeling you get from this place is unlike any place in the country. I've been to a lot of different college campuses, but the people here and the place in itself is just one and next to nothing.
Yeah. When you hear that has to make you perk up, right? That's what you want to hear from a guy that's not just coming to play at Notre Dame, but he's coming to play quarterback at Notre Dame.
I think when we were recruiting CJ, to me, when you're looking at a quarterback and you're looking at a leader of a program, somebody that all arrows would have pointed in him staying at home, right? His grandfather was the head coach, national championship head coach there. His other grandfather played at Michigan. His father played at Michigan. And when you talk about a guy that said, you know what, I'm going to make a decision that he felt was best for him, that might not have been where everybody else thought he should go, like it shows leadership. It shows, I'm going to create my own path. And that's what you want in a quarterback, a leader, somebody that is going to make decisions that they truly believe are right for them. And now I've had a lot of conversations with his grandfather, Coach Carr, and I can tell you this, like when we talk about Notre Dame versus Michigan, he's great. He's always supporting CJ. I did bring up a couple times that, I played against his grandfather. Those weren't great conversations.
I can only imagine.
That kind of – you saw a little fire come out when we started talking about some of the games that the teams I played against his Michigan teams. But there's a special family.
Yeah.
It is a special family, and we're grateful to have it.
CJ, I want to ask you about the recruiting process because we had Chad on, and I'm fascinated by the process. I heard all the detail that he and his staff go into to identifying who they want to recruit, and there's so many things that go on in recruiting. From your standpoint, what's the toughest part about being recruited? What was the biggest challenge for you in this process? Because I think about when I was picking a college. I did not play sports in college. It was tough for me just to pick the school I wanted to apply to and go to. When people want you to come play football somewhere, I imagine there's a ton of added pressure or people pulling you in different directions. So as you reflect upon coming to this decision, what was the toughest thing for you in the recruiting process?
I think the toughest thing for me was, certain kids like to be recruited in different ways, whether it be blowing up your phone every second or giving you a lot of space or sending you graphics. And so for me, the way I like to be recruited was kind of just talking football and getting integrated in what they're going to be teaching me when I get into that, college, wherever it was. And so I think, Notre Dame's coaching staff did a great job in walking me through what they do there and how they do things and the offense they run and how I'm going to be coached. And so I think that really spoke to me that, not only are you going to get a great education here, you're around amazing people, the campus is beautiful, but you're also going to get, the best football in the country. And you're going to play the best teams in the country. You're going to be coached by the best. And so, it was an obvious choice once I continued to visit here and I really understood the 4 for 40 Coach Freeman preaches.
Coach, I want to know about CJ as a player. As you've evaluated him, what are the parts of his game that, as you project him out, you're really excited about seeing on display?
I think he's got a uncanny ability to process and make decisions, and that's one of the things that was so intriguing about him is, he is extremely intelligent, right? And I'm not talking just GPA and those things. I'm talking about the ability to understand football and concepts. And then even in these few practices, the ability to make decisions. He went to the Elite 11 camp, and I've talked to some of those coaches. Tell me about CJ Carr. Tell me about how he processes information, how he makes decisions. It's the most elite response and reviews that I've gotten. And so that to me is so intriguing about him. And that's second to his arm strength. And he's got an arm talent that's second to none. He's got a sneaky athleticism too. I've seen him in practice run around there a little bit.
Sneaky athletic.
Yeah, he can run now. And those are all the traits that you look for in your future quarterback.
What was the Elite 11 process like for you? That's one of those things I hear and I go, okay, those are some of the best quarterbacks at that level coming out. What did you learn from that? What was the benefit of that?
I think from the outside looking in, the Elite 11 is like this big throwing competition where you're trying to, judge kids based on how they throw in a camp situation. But being inside of all the meetings and hanging around all the guys, it's a much different experience than what the media portrays. It's more of a learning opportunity. You're around some of the best coaches in America. You're around a lot of NFL coaches. And so just being around kids that you're going to be in similar situations with them over the next few years is really important. So, the guys I've hung around are going to Georgia, Alabama, a bunch of SEC, Big Ten schools, and so you're gonna have those connections with these kids for the next 4 to 5 years. You're gonna be going through the same struggles as them. You're gonna be going through the same highs as them, and so it's a cool experience just to be around those kids, be around those coaches.
Well, CJ, go ahead. Were you saying something?
No, I just. I was just thinking about as he talks through those different players and those opportunities. Like, I remember another feedback I got from some of his reviews when he was at camp is the competitiveness that he possesses. And I probably didn't say that earlier when I was describing what makes him so. Like, he's a really elite competitor. And I've seen it with how he recruits his class, right? And those guys that really just kind of, come and gravitate towards him, but also when we put him in some competitive situations at some junior days where, he can play, just play games and you see the competitor come out of him. And that's something that we need.
So you mentioned junior days. So I'm curious about this then, because in recruiting, you can see a lot of film, you can talk to a lot of coaches. How do you then identify that competitiveness in the process? Because that seems to be pretty hard to see unless you can sit down with someone and really feel them out.
Yeah, I think there's different things you can do, right? You can talk to the high school coach, and I want to know how CJ plays in his rivalry games. I want to know, does CJ play when he's injured? He's at these different camps. Hey, how was CJ Carr around the other guys? Was he by himself, or was he interacting with them? Was he competing against them? Did he shy away from competition? And then when he's here on junior days, like, we let our guys have fun, right? And they have some fun. They're playing games, and you see a little bit of the trash talking guys that say, you know what, let's go. I'm going to bow up. And I love that. I love that. You get a little concerned when the quarterback's in the back of the room kind of saying, no, you guys go ahead and do it. He's always in the center of the huddle. He's always in the center of attention, and he's an elite competitor. I'm
excited to watch your career play out here at Notre Dame. Thanks for joining us here. Again, no one's joined us this early in their Notre Dame career, so congratulations on being the first. I look forward to watching you the rest of the way, man.
Thank you so much.
All right, we'll take a break and come right back. We're going to keep it going here with our recruiting segment here. We're going to bring in 3 members of the recruiting staff at Notre Dame. We got Dre, Carter, and Caleb here joining us. All members of the recruiting staff that work for Chad Bowden, who was on the show earlier. When I mentioned he was on the show, you guys all kind of perked up. So I want to get some Chad stories here in a second. But first, for those that might not know what you guys do specifically for Notre Dame football and specifically for the recruiting staff, why don't you guys each explain to me what you do so those at home that are listening have a better idea of what you provide to the program. We'll start with you, Dre.
Okay. So, I'm the director of high school scouting. So what that entails is just trying to find, the best players in the country. And that's who we attract at Notre Dame. Obviously, the football, it speaks for itself. But there's, a lot of little carryouts that go into it. And, obviously they have to have the grades, the character and makeup. So that's what I spend most of my day doing is watching film, on these guys. And there's also a relational aspect of it, and that's talking to high school football coaches, it's talking to the recruits, it's talking to, their moms or dads, cousins, you name it, whoever there is that I need to talk to, get that done. So, finding the top guys and recruiting them, that's my job. So,
Carter, what about you?
I'm a recruiting analyst. I would say like recruiting strategist though. I think communication's a big part of everything. So work hand in hand with FIM to do graphics and a weekly plan for recruits. Always communicating with them, and then hosting kids on campus, and as Dre said, a whole bunch of different things too.
Yeah. Okay. And what about you, Caleb?
And then I'm also a recruiting analyst, probably more the jack of all trades of the office.
Definitely.
So
The utility
So
player,
now-
the Mark McLemore.
literally
now-
does it all.
I've been around for Chad. I've been around Chad for 7 years now. So I work for him at Cincinnati. So
Okay.
I'd like to describe it more as like Chad gets super hyper focused on one thing, and I try to figure out what he's not thinking about in the moment and kind of take care of those things.
Take care of his
So-
blind side.
Yes. So I do a lot of the high school scouting with Dre. I do a lot of relationship building, a lot of coaches travel, just kind of whatever we need on a day-to-day basis, try to fill the gaps.
Yeah. Let's talk Chad a little bit. Obviously, a really talented guy and does a great job, but he's a unique guy. So can you give me an example of like maybe the most audacious request he's made of you? Because we talked to him and Coach Freeman earlier. He wanted Coach Freeman to jump out of a plane at one point this year for for a recruiting pitch. You guys, I guess, were all aware of that. But what's maybe the strangest or most unique thing he's asked of you guys to do to help him in his position?
I've got a lot of them. Now, for me, it probably goes back to the Cincinnati days back. You know, every junior day now, we dress up as Secret Service agents, like men in black, and
Crazy.
jump out at the SUVs, check them, pat them down and everything. But it all started back at Cincinnati. We did it on an official visit. And then kind of just kept the trend going. We got here, and it's actually funny, when we first got here, everyone in the office, everyone in the Google looked at us like we were just idiots. Like, we had no clue what we're doing. We're dressed up as Secret Service agents, running around. And it wasn't until, it's actually funny now, Christian Gray went back home. He was on that junior day visit as a recruit. And then his recruiting article mentioned how his favorite part of the visit was us jumping out as Secret Service agents. And me and Chad looked at each other, started celebrating like, oh my gosh, it worked. We kind of know what we're doing just a little bit.
Yeah.
So
That is
it's-
wild.
Yeah.
Is it tough though when you do something like that because you think, gosh, this could backfire, right? Like,
Every time.
Yeah, literally every
Yeah.
time. We're like,
But then somehow, if you kind of believe in it and you do it with a smile on your face, typically the kids kind of reinforce that behavior, so it ends up working out.
yeah. Okay. What about you, Carter? What's a crazy request?
Kind of a similar story. I think Chad is just an energy provider, and that's like what I've learned through this. Like, like when you first see a kid, you want to have great energy, and that's what Chad's great at doing. And kind of similar with that story, we in the summers we have OVs, official visits. We picked him up, and as we're pulling up to the hotel, there's a row of bushes, and Chad told me to. It's pretty funny. Chad told me to act like the car was breaking down. So I was driving the car, and I was like kind of
tapping the brake
a little bit, and I put it in park. Then I went out to the hood of the car and had to open it up and try to sell that it was broken down.
Oh my gosh.
And Chad, you can hear the music in the distance. Then Chad and Caleb actually jumped out of the bushes and started dancing as they're pulling up to the hotel. So that was a pretty funny scene. So kind of
Wow.
energy provider,
Yeah.
greeting them with great energy, kind of showing hey, we want you here. This place is special.
Right.
And this is how we're gonna welcome you. So
I want to do a little bit of rapid fire here because today is signing day. We're just getting to know kind of the guys that are officially going to be here. So we're going to ask you a couple questions about the guys that you have been involved helping get on campus, okay? I want you to give me you guys can all have your own opinion on this, but a couple questions. So of all the signees, who is the funniest guy of the group that's coming in the class of 24?
funniest guy. Sheesh. We got some jokesters in this class. This class is.
A lot of them. You can throw out a couple if you need to.
Yeah,
but
I would.
I
my
need
guy
someone to
would
give me a
be-
definitive answer. Something.
Yeah, Kingston out of Bosco in LA. He is he's a little bit more quieter, but when you hang around him, this dude is
Stealth comedy.
Oh, he's
Yes.
so funny, man. And he'll joke with us. He actually used to messed with Chad a little bit because he was a huge recruitment. We were in a big recruiting battle for him, and so he called Chad the other day, and he was like, "Hey man, I'm just struggling with this decision, Chad was like, "What?" He was like, "What?"
Nightmare
He's
phone
like-
call for Chad.
He's like, "Yeah, for signing day, I'm just struggling with this decision." And Chad's you can see his heart's beating fast, and he's like, "Should I wear a blue or black suit for signing day, and Chad, it was on speakerphone, so we all just lost it, because this is Kingston's one of the top players in the country. So but yeah, Kingston, he's a jokester, man, that's for sure.
Okay, that's your vote. You guys have the same one or someone else?
I say Carson.
Yeah,
Carson's the
I was going
obvious
to go
one.
Carson.
Okay.
Too.
I'm sure we all got different Carson stories, but senior day, these seniors bring in marshmallows and start throwing them, and the recruiting section is like right below the seniors.
Section
so we're getting
31.
marshmallows,
Getting pelted
hurled
by
at us.
marshmallows.
And Carson's getting all these marshmallows together, and he's kind of got like a stockpile, and his dad is like sitting adjacent like to him, and he's sneaking marshmallows, and he's throwing them at the back of his head.
Yeah,
And so
at his dad's head.
His dad thinks he's getting. Okay.
I'm sitting behind his dad, and his dad thinks that I'm throwing them at him.
Yep.
But it's actually Carson like messing with him, and he kept it going for like at least a quarter.
Oh, yeah.
So
That's hilarious.
always messing with his dad,
like
and always
that.
messing around with the guys. So.
Okay. Same answer or someone
Yeah,
else?
I was going to go Carson, too.
Okay.
No,
That's
that whole family's just hilarious, though. Him, his dad, like they are a funny crew.
Okay. Here's another one. When you look back at this class in 5 years, who's maybe going to be the biggest steal of the class? So maybe not like the top, guy in the rankings, but someone you guys got in that's this guy's going to outperform his ranking when it's all said and done.
I think for me, my guy, and he didn't play his senior season, so I think he's kind of flown under the radar a little bit. He's injured, but Cole Mullins.
Okay.
Big believer in Cole Mullins. I think what he did on his junior film, I mean, he's playing defensive end, linebacker. Like, he's so versatile, and he's so big, too. He's 6'4". Was he 245 when he came in as a junior? And I think that's a kid that no one's talking about enough, but he's going to come here and, like you said, 3-4 years down the road is going to play a major role for this program.
Mm-hmm. But you guys?
I think Micah Gilbert. I think he's a little underrated in the rankings, and just a mature kid on and off the field. Like, I feel like he'll be a real leader when he's here. I feel like he'll play fast. He'll play early. And yeah, I think he's the sleeper pick.
Okay. Dre?
Man, that's a tough one for me. I'd probably go Leonard Moore, cornerback out of Texas. I mean, he is. Coach Miggins does a.
I was going to say, if you're bringing in a corner,
Yeah, Coach Miggins, with the Ben Morrisons, Cam Harts, even Sauce Carr, coach him. Like, he does an unbelievable job evaluating. And Leonard Moore is like, he's almost like built in the lab. He's like 6'1.5", 6'2", got long arms, can run, can fast. I think he'll be, when we look back, at the signing day, is going to be one of the steals of the class for sure.
Okay. 2 more questions. This one's, we talked about Chad. I want to talk about Coach Freeman a little bit. You work more directly with Chad, but obviously Coach Freeman's big-time recruiter. He's obviously a great head coach, now heading into his 3rd year. Just what's something that Coach Freeman's impressed upon you? When you look at what he's done with this program, when you look at how he's trying to recruit, what is something that you look at and see in Coach Freeman that you find really admirable and that makes you excited to work for him in this program? I'll start with you, Dre.
Okay. Yeah, I would say I'm just impressed by, like, his ability to be the same guy every day. And, like, he shows up to work every day. Caleb and I, we lift in the morning, and, like, Coach Freeman's, he already beats us in there. We get in there at 6. He's in there at 5:30. And
You ever ask him to spot you, or how's that go?
I might need to, man. He's pretty strong too, but but yeah, with him, he's the same guy every day. He's gonna show up and he's gonna give his best effort, regardless of how he feels. I mean, I don't know how he does it. He has, he's married, has 6 kids, running the Notre Dame, football program. I say, yeah, just showing up every day, and and he gives his best no matter how he feels. So that's something that, kind of looking up to him. That's something I take away. I'm like, man, this guy brings it every day, and happens in recruiting, happens on the field.
Sure.
So,
Yeah. What Dre was saying, he's genuine. He's a motivator. His main saying is one day, one life. So go attack the day with everything you got. And I think that speaks to, all our lives and also into recruiting. When we have kids on campus, give it all you got, love them up, show all your energy, be genuine. And when we do that, it shows the best about what this place is.
Yeah.
And it's easy to talk about and sell Notre Dame. Like, this place is special.
Right.
This place is different, and you feel good showing how genuine and how special this place is to recruits, and that's kind of what he preaches to us.
Yeah.
I think mine kind of piggybacks off them a little bit, but just the authenticity. I've been around him for 7 years, but from back when he was the defensive coordinator at Cincinnati to the head coach at Notre Dame, he's always been the same guy.
Right.
He's always had the same mentality, the same words that he preaches. It's still the same exact mentality that he's been preaching for 7 years. So I think it's pretty rare that you see someone who can, in such a important role that he's in, still be genuine and still be authentic and still be himself every step of the way.
Yeah. last one. You've been doing this, you said, for 7 years, right? How long have you guys been involved in this line of work?
Yeah, I've been. It's my third season. At Notre Dame, so yeah, I got into.
This is your.
Yeah, so I went to school here, and I was a manager 4 years,
Okay.
and this is my second full season.
Okay.
Yeah, true Notre Dame guy right here. Through and
Gold
through.
and blue in the book. So I'll start with on the right and work this way. In the role you're in, what does it feel like then when you see someone who you helped, identify that this was the place? It was Cincinnati for a while. Now it's Notre Dame that they want to be, and then you see them have success at Notre Dame. You see them have success at the next level. Like, what kind of satisfaction does that give you? What kind of personal gratification does that give you guys in your role? Because it is a behind-the-scenes job. It's a role that doesn't get a lot of, Chad doesn't get a ton of glamour, and he's at the top of the recruiting role at this operation. You guys are even further down let's just call it the food chain, helping make it work. But you guys are so involved in helping student athletes identify where they want to go to school, and then try to carve out a professional career. So when you see them have success in the field or at scholastically, what kind of gratification does that give you?
It's the most rewarding thing ever. I mean, I know you kind of talk about being on the food chain and different things, but for us, like, I think what a lot of people don't get to see is we get to see these freshmen come in and just hang out in the recruiting office every day, whether it's Christian Gray just coming in to grab snacks, and then you see them go have a pick on the field on a Saturday. We get to experience all these moments, and we've built a relationship with them over 3 years, and it's still ongoing. And like, even though like we might not necessarily be out there on the news and everything, like, we still get to receive the same exact gratification because we're hanging out with the kids that we've got such a good relationship with, and it just makes us so proud. Makes me so proud to see them succeed on the field and see how their process went and how they came to the conclusion that Notre Dame's their place, and then to see them go ball out on the field is just, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And another thing, just, competitive standpoint too. Like, we like to win, when the team wins, we win. When the team loses, we lose. So we want to, make the best relationships, whatever we can do to help, that's kind of ours. Cause at the end of the day, here to win, and, recruiting the best student athletes in the country to play here, plays a big part of it. So we take a lot of, these guys, we take a lot of pride in that for sure.
Yeah. Last one that I lied, Carter, just for you, North or South dining hall?
I was in Keogh, so I was right next to South, but I'm gonna have to go North.
Yes, that's my guy.
I have to go North.
Yeah.
A lot of people go for that South Harry Potter-like feel, but
nope.
I think North.
It's all a ruse,
right?
It's all aesthetics, and when you get down to the logistics, North has you covered.
North's got you covered.
That's my guy. All right, appreciate all you guys stopping by, and truly thanks for what you do in the recruiting office. It's a ton of work. I know you guys are grinding, and congratulations on another great class. Appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
All right, more recruiting. We are here with Zaire Turner and Mackenzie Zano. Okay, we've got a little bit of a different recruiting element than the last couple guys we were talking to, but still very integral to the operation. Zaire, you're an analyst in operations. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Describe for me what exactly your day-to-day responsibilities are as it relates to recruiting for Notre Dame football.
Yeah, it's always different. I'm pretty sure everyone says that, but like daily it's just different. But I handle a lot of admissions, the admissions portion of it. Okay. So making sure they get in school, making sure they're in the right classes their senior year. I deal with all the travel for Coach Freeman for recruiting travel, and then also the assistant coaches for their travel when they're on the road.
Oh.
So planning that all out with Chad and getting them all taken care of. I also work really closely with Mackenzie, which she'll tell you a little bit about what she does here in a second. And then also dealing with like getting our next group set for admissions.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're always forward looking to making sure that everyone's qualified to get in and has their ducks in a row.
Right, right.
Probably a lot harder than it sounds like when you just say it out loud.
Yeah.
Mackenzie, what do? You're director of on-campus recruiting.
Yes.
So I get the sense it's all based here in South Bend for the most part, but illuminate me and those that are listening really for what your job entails and what you're focused on.
Yeah, absolutely. The biggest thing is definitely the on-campus relationship. So as soon as the kid steps on campus, and even before that, both Zaire and myself communicate with those recruits and make sure that they're set up for their visit. So that's part one. But part two is when they actually get on campus and they meet with our head coach, our position coaches, strength, nutrition. I mean, you name it, we're the ones setting those meetings up.
Okay.
And doing their itinerary from start to Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
From start to finish. Outside of that, I mean, it's really operations, like recruiting operations, and that can mean a bunch of different things.
It's everything. Like,
yeah, it's
every
hard.
part of their visit.
So I was going to ask about visits. So pretend I'm coming on campus for a visit. I'm from Seattle, Washington. I'm coming all the way out to South Bend. I play high school football. I'm most likely a sophomore or junior, right, in high school when I come out and visit. And I love like steak, and I love like T.I. and Gucci Mane. Those are my people, right? Okay. So like, what are you going to do? How are you going to build out my itinerary so that it's catered to me and that I find Notre Dame attractive for what it is, but also for the attention to detail you put into my visit?
So we're going to start with your travel. We want to make sure you have the best flight experience, because I feel like when they don't have a good travel experience, they already kind of like in their head, they're like, oh, well.
It's a long way from home.
Yeah. So I always try to find the perfect, even if it's flying them in Chicago, getting car service in the South Bend.
Got you.
So we start with their travel, making sure they're all set up there so we can see when they get in to see how much time we have with them, so Mackenzie can truly plan out their schedule.
Okay.
And also you want the kid, like she's saying, like our focus to make sure he has the absolute best experience possible, because you never know when you're going to get that kid back on campus. It's like a one and done if you don't show out.
Assume it's the only time they'll be on campus,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely, always.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so can you make an adjustment to the menu for me while I'm there? Can I get my steak, or how does that work?
So we also, before they get there, we ask them what their favorite snacks are, what their favorite meals are, what their favorite music. We ask all these questions.
Really?
So we know when they get here, we already know we're going to have steak. If they love Chipotle, we're going to cater Chipotle for lunch. Yep. If they love Chick-fil-A, we're going to do that too. We'll do both. We don't care. We'll do it all. Like it's about them. So we want them to have that experience. We want them. So during their photo shoot, if they love Gucci Mane and T.I., that's what we're blasting.
Yeah.
That's what's going to be in the speakers.
Yeah.
I'm already kind of like eating up wanting to be a part of the 24K class just when I hear that. What is the biggest week or time in the schedule? Maybe biggest is the wrong word. Like, what is the most difficult? What is the most stressful? What is the week that you have to put the most work into to make sure it's a success? And it might be the same week for you guys, might be a different week. Tell me when that time of the year is for you.
I'm not going to speak for her, but I'm pretty sure we have the same thing in mind. Yeah. We work so well together, so we always kind of
She's nodding just in the back of your head because she knows what you're going to say. Okay.
It's June OVs. 100%. It's June OVs.
June official visits.
Official visits. Sorry, yes. Official visits. Most people think the season is like super hard for us, but like we have it down where like we got the season taken care of. June OVs always feels like a shock when it's coming. Like we prepare like this year for next year.
Right.
So we're always at least a year ahead. Like we're trying to be a year ahead about getting their hotel rooms booked and venues booked and cater. Like all of these things are booked well in advance.
Right.
And it just, I don't know, it's a fun time, but it's so stressful.
Right.
So.
Is that same for you?
Yeah.
What about it makes it difficult for you in particular?
Yeah. Well, it's not just, I mean, we deal with the official visits in June, but then you're intermixing it with camp. So you got camps going on, right, and you're hosting like 100+ kids. And then you also got unofficial visits where kids can sometimes just show up like day of, and you have to put together a schedule like that and make sure that they still have a good experience. So you're dealing with all of that midweek, and that's why we do a lot of the pre-planning, because it's a lot of work, and you want to make sure you are executing at your highest level for official visits. Yes. But you also have all of that stuff in the middle of it that you're trying to juggle and manage. And I think that's what makes it so difficult, because you aren't sleeping, you're barely eating, you're making sure that everybody else is taken care of.
Yeah, all the recruits are eating, but you're not eating.
Exactly.
So like those days, just like a day, we wake up at 5?
Yep.
Get ready, make sure we're greeting them, make sure breakfast is all set. We have their entire day set. Yeah. They get maybe about an hour and a half, 2 hours of downtime, and then we have dinner. And then they go off with their player hosts, and then we still have a social for the parents. So we're out until they're out.
Right.
So it's could be midnight. You never know.
Where's that ending usually if it's at 2 a.m.?
Oh, we rent out Free
Yes.
Burger.
Okay.
That's our
We've been
spot.
smarter.
Yeah.
It's in walking distance to the hotel.
Yes. Very
So,
smart.
You
Logistics.
don't have to worry
Yes.
about
Yeah.
driving anyone anywhere.
Yes.
And then we do night rides for the recruits.
Yes.
So when they're done hanging out with their player hosts, we go pick them up, take them back to the hotel so they can go to sleep. Or the guys do. We're usually
Yeah.
probably still at the
Sometimes.
social. Yeah.
Sometimes you get pulled in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys got it all figured out. Let's talk Chad a little bit. This kind of in the Chad Bowden hour here. Got some great stories from Coach Freeman. I don't actually know if I asked CJ about Chad, but I've asked the other guys that were here to talk about Chad and give me their, most interesting request he's brought your way. I assume if you guys are seeing, a lot of this stuff where it's on campus trying to really impress people, that you've gotten some interesting requests from Chad. I see Mackenzie nodding along. So let's start with you. Are there a request or two that come to mind? You go, that's pretty unique, Chad.
Yeah, definitely. The one that's probably the most scarring is when he asked us to do 17 official visits in one weekend. And when he wants it also very individualized. And I mean, the goal was to get all the guys around each other, which I totally get. I get that part.
Right.
Logistically, I had to build out a matrix for that weekend just to make sure no one was like crossing each other and everybody could get their own set schedule. I mean, that was probably one of the most difficult, but I mean, it was exciting because you have all those guys there at one time.
Yeah. So we're difficult but rewarding.
Yes,
Got it.
very much
I
so.
can agree with that. And it is scarring because I totally
Yes.
blacked that out. It was my first week here.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
yeah, and
Oh,
I had
no.
to like just kind of dive in and go, you know what? I got to figure out the campus, learn about all of them, learn their faces, learn their names, learn their parents' names. Like,
Yeah.
it's, yeah.
That was a crash course.
Yes.
That's tougher than any final exam you probably ever had. What about this line of work? I'll just be candid. For me, I could not do this. It just does not, I get anxiety just listening to you guys talk about it a little bit. It doesn't do it for me, but I've known tons of people that have gotten into this line of work. Why'd you get into this line of work, and what do you enjoy about it? And I'll start with you, Zaire.
Yeah. I reached out on Twitter to the Texas Tech football program and I got hired through that way. And I fell in love. I wanted to go to law school and be a sports agent. I had no intention of working in college football, but I loved it so much because I love talking to people. I love getting to know people. I love just the energy that they give off, and they're so genuine. They're just so happy to be wherever program that they're visiting.
Yeah.
And it feels so good to have a great experience for them. So it sometimes it's hard,
Sure.
but it's so rewarding.
Okay. About you?
Yeah, shout out to my sister. She definitely got me into this because I didn't know that this world existed. I don't think a lot of people know that this world exists because, I mean, you talk about we are behind the scenes and that's where we need to be, especially to be successful at this job.
Right.
Like, you don't get a lot of things, but we don't need it just because of, like, you're helping kids, like, achieve their dream. So that's huge. And I've always cared about people, and my sister, she's the one, I credit it to her because she, at the time I was going to Wisconsin, and she, come back to Twitter, she found this post on Twitter and knew that the football team was looking for just volunteers. And I thought, you know what the heck? I was already working in athletic operations through guest services at Wisconsin, and I had never touched football. So I thought, why not? And at that point, I had met the director of player personnel, got hired on. He was the one who really changed my view and just like showed the importance of also like women in this industry. And I feel like that's not talked about a whole lot just because like we have a lot of like detail and attention and organization that can really benefit departments, especially recruiting departments. And so he really invested in me, and after graduation, again, had no intention of getting into athletics at all. But he called me up, and of course my sister answered the phone and threw it at me, and that phone call changed my life. So I ended up getting hired on as the coordinator of on-campus recruiting at Wisconsin, and then came over to Notre Dame 3 years ago, and it's been a heck of a ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can certainly tell. The last one I have is just for both of you. It's slightly related to the one we just had, but more specific to Notre Dame. Because as you said, you spent some time in Wisconsin,
Yeah.
you spent time at Texas Tech, and then I think you did some work at Virginia Tech 2 years saying, and now you're here at Notre Dame. And then you now talk to people that, they're deciding if they want to come to Notre Dame or go somewhere else. So for you, why Notre Dame? What about Notre Dame brings you joy and happiness and makes you want to be a part of this football team and university to do the work that you do?
Yeah, I'll go.
Yeah.
I think it has a lot to do with the staff that you meet, because you work with them on a daily basis.
Right.
And Notre Dame speaks for itself. Like, it's a great university, and they treat you with so much respect and love around campus, and they're always so welcoming. But for me, day to day, it really came down to the staff and our coaching staff, our support staff. Like, everyone is so amazing. Everyone's so respectful. They care about you. It's very family oriented. So they make it worthwhile. Like, some days are really hard. And some days when the coaches are on the road, it's really hard. I'm getting phone calls like at 4 o'clock in the morning because they're having travel issues. But you know what? It's totally fine, because we all work hard and we all have the same goal. We all want to do what's best for the program, what's best for the players, what's best for the recruits.
Right.
So that's it for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about you, Mackenzie?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, it's definitely the people. And I go back to like the first time that I ever visited campus too. I was just with my mom, and no one knew I wasn't a part of the program, wasn't working here, and we just walked campus. And again, it's like, faith is super important to me. And at the time, it was definitely like the magnetism. Like, you just feel like you're a part of something so much bigger when you're here on campus. And people just make you feel like you're a part of this really interconnected family that's never going to leave you. And, you know, we talk about it in recruiting, and sometimes, you know, people think that when we talk about things in recruiting, we're just trying to show our highlight reel. But at the end of the day, that's how it feels. Like, I mean, especially in the recruiting office, like, we truly feel like family. Like, I don't know. I can't picture my life like without those people in it.
Yeah.
It's so true. Yeah. Chad, love Chad. I love Chad, but he can push your buttons a little bit.
Yeah.
He's like that.
He's like that little brother.
Yeah,
you know?
he literally. And it's just, but I've never worked with people that I love so much. Like, our recruiting group, I can't imagine working here without them, because we are just so great, so cohesive. We're all on the same page. Like, we support each other in the best way that we can support each other.
Right.
So we're just a big family.
Well, I know you guys go put in a ton of work. You just laid it out for me. And it doesn't always get seen, but National Signing Day is a day I think that's great, that we can see kind of the product of all that work come together. Congratulations on all the hard work, and then good luck on all the hard work that's still to come. But thanks for coming by as well.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having us.
That does it for this edition of Wake Up the Echoes, presented by TireRack.com. Thanks to all of our guests for joining us on this very special Signing Day edition, where we celebrated the 24K class fueled by Gatorade. We'll talk to you next time on Wake Up the Echoes, presented by TireRack.com.